In the tranquil prelude of dawn, a soft mist enveloped the land as Hercules approached the palace of King Eurystheus. The grand structure loomed in the distance, its stone walls swathed in shades of gray and soft blue, standing resolute against the sky's overcast hue. Hercules, son of Zeus, known for his formidable strength and indomitable will, trod the path with quiet determination. This journey marked the beginning of a quest that would test his might and mettle against legendary creatures and daunting tasks. Within the halls of the palace, King Eurystheus awaited him with an air of authority and anticipation. Hercules, summoned by the king, listened as Eurystheus introduced the 12 labors he must undertake as penance, a sentence handed down by fate and divine decree. Each labor a challenge, each an ordeal meant to prove his valor. Within Eurystheus's words lay tales of dangerous beasts and arduous trials, crafted to temper the hero's spirit and test his resolve. Among them, legends whispered the names and tales of these trials across the lands. The first of these tasks was laid before Hercules, to slay the indomitable Nemean lion, a beast not only feared for its ferocity, but also revered for its near invulnerability. Armed with nothing but a club and his unyielding strength, Hercules journeyed to the Nemean hills. There he confronted the beast, its roars echoing like thunder across the valleys. In a fierce battle, Hercules grappled with the lion, wrestling it into submission before finally claiming his victory. It was a testament to his courage and fortitude, a fitting commencement to his long odyssey. Triumphant from his initial conquest, Hercules returned to King Eurystheus, bearing the lion's impregnable pelt as proof of his feat. But the king, with his uncompromising gaze, did not linger on the hero's first achievement. Instead, Eurystheus pressed forth with the next challenge, the second labor, to slay the Lernaean Hydra. This serpentine creature, menacing and fearsome, lurked within the depths of Lerna's swamp, its very breath poisonous, and its many heads multiplying when cut. Hercules accepted the challenge with unwavering resolve. The task ahead was formidable, but the hero's heart was steadfast. It was in his nature to confront fearsome odds with grit and tenacity, qualities that had served him well in past adversities. Yet, he knew that brute strength alone might not suffice in the face of such a cunning adversary. It would require strategy, perhaps even help, to overcome the Hydra's relentless regrowth. As word of his next labor spread, Iolaus, a loyal companion and kin, stood by Hercules' side with a pledge of aid. With qualities of resourcefulness and loyalty, Iolaus vowed to accompany Hercules on this trying endeavor. Their bond, forged over shared kinship and adventures, promised a partnership grounded in trust and mutual respect. Together, they formed a team that was as astute as it was brave, a fitting juxtaposition to the daunting challenge that lay ahead. The day of departure arrived with a serene anticipation, as Hercules and Iolaus readied themselves for the journey to Lerna. Their preparations were methodical, informed by past experiences and the lore surrounding the Hydra. Light but equipped for the trials to come, they set out from the palace grounds, leaving Tyrans engulfed in the pastel hues of early morning light. As they traveled, the landscape unfurled before them, hills rising and falling with the gentle breaths of the earth. The duo's hearts and minds brimmed with anticipation, yet there was a soothing calm in their synergy, a silent understanding that echoed the gentle rhythm of the unfolding day. The path ahead was lined with uncertainties, yet Hercules' resolve to see his destiny through was unfaltering. And as the gates of Tyrans faded into the distance, they embarked on their mission, the horizon arcing toward the quiet mysteries of Lerna's watery depths. The sun peaked delicately above the horizon, casting a soft glow as Hercules and Iolaus embarked on their journey from Tyrans. The pair walked side by side, each step taking them farther from the safety of familiar terrain, and ever closer to the enigmatic destination that lay ahead. The task demanded not just strength but also wits, for the Hydra of Lerna was no ordinary foe. Hercules carried the weight of his destiny with a serene determination, aware that this labor was not only a test of might, but also of resolve. Each step they took wove them deeper into a quilt of ancient landscapes, each with a story of its own. Vast fields gave way to low hills, which then melted into the lush embrace of dense forests. As they traveled through these diverse sceneries, Iolaus recounted stories of their past adventures, tales woven with the thread of bravery, which seemed to lighten the rigors of the journey. Occasionally, Hercules would add his own thoughts, finding in his companion's presence an unspoken promise of loyalty. As the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in muted hues of twilight, the duo found a stream with clear waters, deciding it was the perfect place to rest. The soothing sound of gently flowing water under the calm canopy of the night sky brought a moment of peace. Hercules gazed at the stars above, pondering the formidable reputation of the Hydra. It was said to have multiple heads, each capable of destruction, and the challenge seemed daunting. In the quiet confines of nature, his mind danced with strategies and visions of courage. Iolaus, noticing Hercules' thoughtful demeanor, spoke words of encouragement, reminding him of his prodigious strength and indomitable spirit. The trust and belief in Hercules' eyes reflected the bond they shared. Reassured by Iolaus' steadfast belief, Hercules found momentary solace, the weight of his mission balanced with the buoyancy of companionship. Their journey continued, and soon the signs of the Hydra's menacing presence became apparent. The verdant vibrance of nature gave way to swaths of charred earth, landscapes testimony to the beast's wrath. Wilted vegetation marked their path like eerie heralds of the danger that lurked ahead. It was clear they were treading upon territories claimed by the creature they were destined to confront. Their cautious progress led them to a small settlement of villagers, who implored them with anxious voices and warned of the peril awaiting in Lerna's marshy depths. Concern laced their warnings as they spoke of the Hydra's deadly gaze and its unyielding guardianship over Lerna's swamps. Yet, for Hercules and Iolaus, these tales were but a reaffirmation of their purpose, a challenge that needed to be met with courage and fortitude. The forest soon thinned out, and the air became thick with anticipation as they neared the renowned swamps of Lerna. The ground grew soft beneath their feet, the comfort of solid earth replaced by the unsound ground of marshy land. Shadows cast by a trickling mist created illusions of movement amidst the stillness, hinting at ancient secrets hidden beneath the water's reflective surface. As the day merged seamlessly into night, the duo reached the outskirts of Lerna, where the air held a quiet tension, whispering secrets of past struggles between heroes and myths. Here, under the cloak of descending darkness, Hercules and Iolaus prepared themselves mentally for what lay ahead. The rough terrain of the swamp offered little comfort, nature's warning etched into every step they took. Mindful of their foreboding task, Hercules' resolve remained unshaken. He approached the challenge with a vision clear, the lessons of the past interwoven with hopes of conquering adversity through strength and strategy combined. The quiet of the night deepened around them, enfolding their anticipation in silence as they readied for the daylight that would call them to face their legendary foe. One more darkness fell, bringing with it calm acceptance of the impending trial. Hercules and Iolaus stood united, as the sleepy stillness of the land whispered promises of trials and glories that would soon unfold. As Hercules and Iolaus entered the swampy realms of Lerna, a deep sense of purpose carried them through the eerie landscape. The air was heavy and filled with an enigmatic silence, as if the very surroundings held their breath in anticipation of what was to come. Wisps of fog floated above the ground, curling around the dense trees that bordered their path. Each step into the murky expanse seemed to amplify the quietude, pressing down on the duo with a hushed insistence that promised both challenge and revelation. Navigating through the dense vegetation, an acrid odor began to weave its presence into the air they breathed. It was a sharp, unsettling scent that spoke of decay and death, a testament to the fearsome resident of this forsaken place. The reeds, which swayed with a life of their own, seemed to whisper ancient secrets as Hercules carefully led the way. The swamp's marshy terrain bore the weight of its own history, murmuring of trials past and those yet to come. It was not long before Hercules stumbled upon a harrowing scene, one that spoke silently of the danger they faced. Scattered across the ground were the skeletal remnants of those who had ventured into the swamp before them, a grim reminder of the Hydra's lethal legacy. The bones lay bleached like forgotten memories, a testament to the monster's ferocity and the ultimate price of failure. Hercules paused, taking in the stark reality of the task set before him, while Iolaus stood resolutely by his side. The further they trekked into the swamp, the more treacherous the ground became. Each footstep was a cautious negotiation, as the wet earth clung to their sandals, resisting their every move. Every step deeper into the marsh seemed to resist their journey, as if nature itself conspired to challenge their resolve. The sounds of their movement blended into the ambient murmur of the swamp, a symphony of determination and perseverance. It was amidst this challenging terrain that they found what they had come for. Veiled by thick foliage lay the entrance to the Hydra's lair. Hidden and naturally fortified, it seemed as if the earth itself was intent on protecting the secrets contained within. The myriad shadows gathered around this looming aperture, creating a striking contrast against the encroaching twilight. Here, surrounded by nature's barriers, Hercules and Iolaus paused to gather their thoughts and devise their strategy. As they sat near the entrance, Hercules and Iolaus spoke softly, their conversation imbued with a quiet intensity. Aware of the task ahead, their discussion revolved around the essential traits they must bring to bear: courage, strength, and, above all, wit. The Hydra was not a foe vanquished by force alone. It demanded a cunning equal to its own manifold heads. Hercules contemplated their approach, unfurling a plan that relied as much on timing and precision as on the raw strength for which he was renowned. With their strategy set and confidence bolstered by their shared resolve, Hercules and Iolaus turned their attention to setting camp. The duskened veil of night began to cloak the swamp, drawing the world into a peaceful lull despite the tension in the air. While tidying their makeshift site, they observed the small routines of their armor and supplies, their silent focus fixing the mind for the trial awaiting them with dawn's arrival. Thus, under the dimly lit canopy, Hercules and Iolaus found a moment of serenity, a calm before the eventual storm. It was a moment poised on the edge of silence and anticipation, one that allowed them to gather their inner strength and reinforce their shared courage. Together, they would face what lay ahead, ready to confront the legendary Hydra as night whispered over the Swamp of Lerna. In the quiet solitude of the Lerna swamp, night had folded upon Hercules and Iolaus like a gentle shroud. The air was thick and still, accompanied by the faint linger of marshy scents that whispered tales of dangers ahead. Despite the calm that cloaked the landscape, a sense of anticipation hummed beneath the serene veneer, wrapping around the duo as they settled in for a brief rest. Though they knew sleep might elude them, their minds rested with resolved determination, preparing for the task that awaited with the break of dawn. As the faint light of early morning began to stretch across the sky, the earth beneath their feet gave a subtle yet ominous rumble. This trembling of the ground served as a foreboding herald of the creature that lay beneath the surface, a sign that the time had come for Hercules to face the formidable Hydra. From the depths of the swamp, the creature began its ascent, breaking through the mist-laden surface of the waters. Its emergence was a sight to behold, many sinuous heads coiling upwards, their movements so synchronized They resembled a grotesque dance of serpents. A shiver of awe and urgency coursed through Hercules as the true scale of his challenge unfurled before him. Faced with the Hydra's looming presence, Hercules tightened his grip upon his massive club. Each of the Hydra's heads swayed menacingly, eyes glinting in the dawn's pale light. Beside him, Iolaus stood with quiet resolve, ready to lend his aid when the moment demanded. Both men were acutely aware of the legendary creature's lethal attributes, its deadly breath capable of withering the natural world around it, its blood infused with potent venom, and, most disconcertingly, the uncanny ability of its heads to regenerate. Here lay not just a physical confrontation, but one that required strategic forethought and keen observation. With no time for fear or hesitation, the initial assault commenced as Hercules charged forward. His powerful swings clashed with the serpent heads that snapped and writhed in retaliation. The air buzzed with tension as each head moved with precision, striking as one. The Hydra's attacks came fast and unending, but Hercules' strength absorbed their ferocity, deflecting each lash with a seasoned warrior's choreography. As the battle danced on, it became apparent that pure brawn would not suffice against this monstrous foe. The Hydra, sensing Hercules' resolve, lashed out with greater vigor, its heads weaving together in a fearsome display of power. Besieged by the multiplicity of his foe, Hercules maintained his guard, each swing calculated to avoid the snapping fangs that pursued him. All the while, Iolaus remained steadfast at the periphery, observing alongside Hercules the endless agility and endurance the Hydra presented. This calculated chaos drove Hercules to an epiphany. As he stepped aside to briefly observe the patterns of the Hydra's movements, a strategy crystallized in his mind, a means to outwit the seemingly insurmountable menace before him. Hercules realized that while strength brought him this far, it would be cunning that guided him to victory. The Hydra thrived in the complexity of its many heads, but perhaps therein also lay its Achilles' heel. As the serpent's relentless onslaught began to show signs of a predictable rhythm, Hercules formulated a plan. Each thrust, each feint, held calculated purpose, aiming to reveal openings. With his senses honed and his mind sharp, he found a brief solace amidst the chaos to construct the battle's path unfolding ahead. Drawing upon a sharp memory of Eurystheus' guidance and vigilance honed from prior labors, Hercules prepared to counter each strike with precision. His thoughts turned to the strength in unity and the guiding presence of Iolaus, whose own silent encouragement lent him unwavering support. Hercules knew that with the dawn of this realization, his confidence soared to new heights, merging seamlessly with the resolve that had brought him to the threshold of this great labor. Thus, as the chapter closes, Hercules stands resolute, preparing himself mentally and physically for a decisive next move. A notable calm permeates his surroundings, suggesting the concentrated storm before the triumph to come. A serenity only the clarion call of impending victory could summon. Amidst the swirling mist of the swamp at Lerna, Hercules stood firm, recalling the counsel Eurystheus had given him before setting out on this treacherous task. The king's words echoed in his mind. Strength alone would not vanquish the Hydra. It required strategy and cunning. He focused on this vital piece of wisdom now as he studied the fearsome creature before him, its numerous heads swaying ominously in the damp air. Hercules' thoughts moved swiftly to formulating a plan, recalling past labors where mere force had not sufficed. Determined, he pondered the balance between brute strength and the cleverness needed to overcome such a daunting foe. Turning to Iolaus, his loyal companion who had journeyed with him to these murky depths, Hercules explained his plan. "Stay ready with the torch," he instructed in a low, calm voice that conveyed both trust and urgency. Iolaus nodded, understanding the key role he would play. The torch would be paramount for the coming maneuvers, embodying the fire of strategy as it danced in red and orange hues. As Hercules prepared to engage the creature, he appreciated the silent camaraderie between them, a bond fortified by shared battles and unwavering loyalty. With a resolute swing of his mighty club, Hercules charged toward the Hydra. The beast reacted swiftly and instinctively. As expected, it was a formidable foe, steeped in ancient malice. Hercules aimed with precision and brought his weapon down upon one of the heads, severing it cleanly. For a brief moment, it seemed like a victory, but soon reality reasserted itself with an unsettling twist. From the wound, 2 new heads emerged, writhing as they sprang into life. They exuded a daunting vitality that threatened to undo his efforts. Hercules noted this, not with despair, but with the analytical mind of a strategist. Aware of the challenge they faced, Iolaus hurled himself into action, torch in hand. As the fresh heads reared, he rushed forward with agility and precision born from countless rehearsals. The torch sizzled as it met the wounds, searing the stumps and preventing further growth. With each cauterization, the Hydra's regenerative capabilities were thwarted. The air crackled with intensity as Hercules and Iolaus replicated this synergy, their efforts weaving a dance of strategy and execution that held the Hydra at bay. As the battle raged on, the creature sought to leverage its natural advantages. The Hydra was relentlessly aggressive, its head striking with venomous intent, coordinating in unison like a chorus of serpents. Hercules could feel the weight of their onslaught, the coordinated attacks pushing him closer to the edge. Yet, amidst the chaos, his mind remained sharply focused, discerning patterns in the Hydra's movement. This was no mere beast he faced, but a living puzzle to be solved, its ferocity tempered by the right approach. The tide of battle ebbed and flowed, the Hydra at times overtaking the 2 warriors with its sheer tenacity. Still, Hercules refused to succumb to frustration or fear. Instead, he drew upon his inner well of resilience, an inexhaustible reservoir nurtured through each labor. The notion of defeat never crossed his mind. Rather, he perceived the struggle as a forge for insight and innovation. Each clash served to reinforce his understanding of the delicate balance between strength and sapience. With renewed vigor, Hercules adjusted his strategy. He observed that attacking heads sequentially reduced the risk of overwhelming regeneration, and he concentrated his strength there. Iolaus mirrored his tactics, and together they whittled down the Hydra's defenses. The torch became an extension of their will, taming the beast's regenerative properties and slowly tipping the scales. With every head cauterized and neutralized, the Hydra's invincibility waned, its monstrous aura dissipating like mist in the morning sun. Finally, after a series of precise assaults and coordinated torch actions, the Hydra's formidable presence seemed to waver. The creature retreated, acknowledging more with instinct than intellect the resilience of its assailants. Hercules sensed victory approaching, not defined by the mere defeat of a mighty creature, but through the harmonious balance of intellect and perseverance. The battle had been hard fought, with lessons carved out with every swing of his club and every flicker of flame wielded by Iolaus. With the tide turned, the prospect of overpowering the Hydra was no longer a distant goal, but a tangible reality drawing closer. Hercules and Iolaus shared a brief, reassuring glance, a silent affirmation of their unyielding partnership. The path to victory now lay unfurled before them, as clear as the sun breaking through misty clouds. Their battle plan had woven determination with wisdom, forging a path to triumph over adversity, an eternal testament to the fusion of strength and strategy. Amidst the misty expanse of the Lernaean swamp, the battle raged between Hercules and the Hydra, a monumental test of strength and strategy. As the morning mist lingered and sunlight briefly pierced through the overcast sky, Hercules paused to gather his thoughts, reviewing the key observations he had made. He recalled Eurystheus's teachings and refocused on the Hydra's primary vulnerability, its regenerative heads. If they were to emerge victorious, understanding this weakness was critical. Hercules took note of Iolaus's adept use of the torch, a simple yet ingenious tool against their formidable foe. Iolaus's quick actions, each movement precise and assured, proved invaluable. Every head severed by Hercules was met with the cauterizing flame wielded by his loyal companion, halting the Hydra's resurrection capabilities. Hercules found strength in their coordinated efforts, a seamless symphony of action and response, as though they had performed this dance countless times before. With this surge of energy and renewed focus, Hercules felt the fullness of his strength return. The Herculean fortitude he was renowned for surged through him, as if spurred by Iolaus's unwavering dedication. As mighty swings of his club echoed across the damp landscape, he seized control, each swing backed by the cunning strategy they had devised. The combination of brute force and tactical intelligence became the turning tide in their battle against the creature. Strategic choices emerged as a focal point, evolving with each encounter. Hercules and Iolaus had felt the Hydra's wrath, evading its many snapping jaws while delivering their counterattacks. At times, nature itself seemed to offer fortuitous assistance, as the normally sluggish swamp began to dry slightly under the midday sun, providing added traction for the hero's advance. Each environmental shift, though subtle, played to their advantage, if only by granting the modest benefit of stability. As more of the Hydra's heads were efficiently subdued and sealed, the beast began to show signs of weakening under the relentless onslaught of the two companions. Its towering ferocity started to slow, the thrashing of its many serpentine heads becoming less vigorous. Hercules watched carefully, mindful of the opportunity at hand. With fewer limbs to direct its formidable energy, the Hydra's threat appeared less insurmountable. But victory was not yet assured. Hercules remained vigilant, pushing forward with an unwavering determination that matched his Herculean stature. Alongside him, Iolaus stood as a testament to loyalty and bravery. Their combined force was potent, yet it was Hercules' relentless drive that continually propelled them toward the ultimate goal. Each step taken with precision, each decision executed with unyielding resolve, as if every fiber of his being knew that triumph lay just beyond reach. As the midday sky played hide-and-seek with the sun, beckoning a brighter phase of their confrontation, Hercules sensed the imminent victory drawing near. The Hydra, though still formidable, had reached a critical point. Its once overwhelming presence diminished as they continued their systematic strategy of engagement. And in the midst of this intricate dance of battle and strategy, Hercules felt the essence of strength and strategy merge. And it was in this union that triumph became inevitable. Thinning heads, subdued cries, and the persistent light of Iolaus's torch painted a scene of emerging success, as Hercules and his trusted companion prepared for their next crucial move. The turning tide had brought them to the cusp of victory, their efforts solidifying in the fading tumult of the Hydra's fury. With the signs of defeat etched into the swamp's hidden movements, Hercules stood ready to face the final throes of this mythic struggle, assured in the knowledge of their impending triumph. With anticipation hanging in the air, the gentle yet powerful force of will possessed by Hercules moved them forward. The path to victory lay just within their grasp, a calm intensity guiding their steps. And as the Hydra weakened, the dawn of defeat unfolded in muted tones across the ancient swamp, suggesting the crescendo of an epoch-defining victory against this timeless adversary. The battle against the Hydra had reached a critical juncture. With only a few of the dreadful heads still writhing, Hercules pressed on, determination carved into his features. The once tumultuous swamp seemed to draw a deep breath, as if in anticipation. The warm golden rays of the afternoon sun began cutting through the scattered clouds, casting overlapping patterns onto the calm waters. The ambient sounds quieted, the rush of the fight whispering into a tranquil resolve. The struggle had been immense, each part of Hercules' body bearing the signs of this exhaustive clash. Sweat glistened on his brow, mingling with the dirt speckled across his skin. His muscles ached from wielding his club, each strike a formidable effort against the Hydra's relentless assault. Yet beneath the surface of his fatigue lay a profound, undying resilience. Hercules had learned to measure his strength not only in terms of force, but also in patience and strategy. Each breath he took seemed to renew his vigor, invigorating him with the resolve necessary for this pivotal moment. As the Hydra's heads decreased, a profound silence enveloped the environment, the chaos subsiding into an almost sacred calm. The air, once tainted with the acrid odor of the beast's breath, now seemed to sweeten with spring's fragrance after recent rains. Hercules took a moment to absorb this newfound peace, his gaze fixed upon the remaining serpent heads, still poised defiantly. With a calculated surge, he delivered a powerful blow, his club finding its mark with impeccable precision. The resounding crack echoed through the swamp as the Hydra reeled from its final adversary. Beside him, Iolaus stood at the ready, steady hands clutching the torch ablaze. With swiftness and precision, he stepped forth to seal the wound made by Hercules' decisive strike. The torch hissed as it met the flesh, the fire's cleansing embrace preventing any further regrowth. The last vestiges of the Hydra's resistance crumbled, their foe collapsing into the mire of the swamp. It was a sight of fallen might and formidable menace, now rendered powerless before the strength and strategy of Hercules and Iolaus. Victorious, the duo paused to reflect. Their eyes met, a shared understanding of the extraordinary feat they had accomplished together. Hercules' heart swelled with a warm sense of relief, the weight of this venture finally lifting from his shoulders. Beside him, Iolaus marveled quietly, gratitude mixed with admiration, both for the victory and the bond forged in the heart of battle. Their triumph in the Swamp of Lerna would stand as a testament to their cunning and alliance, a story that would echo through the ages. As the sun began its descent, casting longer shadows across the lair, Hercules and Iolaus began preparations to return home. The Hydra's formidable challenge had been overcome, and in its wake, a serene atmosphere settled over the once feared landscape. Hercules gathered a token, a tangible proof of their conquest over the fearsome beast. Together, they arranged their equipment, the remnants of their arduous task neatly packed for the journey ahead. Calm waters of the swamp mirrored the sky, caressed by the soft hues of dusk. As they turned to leave, a gentle breeze carried the distant songs of unseen birds, an ode to the life that persisted once more in the aftermath of destruction. Despite the physical toll, Hercules felt invigorated by the prospect of returning to Tiryns, ready to present their accomplishment to King Eurystheus. The path before them, though familiar, promised to be a different journey as they left behind the challenges of the Hydra. There was a profound sense of completeness in Hercules' heart, a feeling of reaching a stepping stone on his arduous road towards redemption. With calm fortitude, he and Iolaus set forth, ready to share their tale and bear witness to their victory. The swamp, now still and glimmering under the afternoon sun, stood as a silent guardian of their heroic tale, an integral chapter in the legend of Hercules. As dawn gave way to the gentle ascent of the sun, Hercules and Iolaus stood at the edge of the swamp, their silhouettes framed by soft light filtering through the remaining mist. The Herculean task was complete, the Hydra defeated, its monstrous form now but a chapter in their burgeoning story of triumph. They paused momentarily, taking in the tranquil transformation of the Lerna swamp, which now seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, released from the grip of its serpentine oppressor. Gone were the malevolent whispers and hissing threats that once haunted its waterlogged reaches. In their place was a serene undulation of reeds stirred by the morning breeze, as if nature itself looked forward to its own renewal. The companions gathered their belongings with practiced ease, ensuring their precious proof of victory. The severed Hydra heads were securely packed for the journey ahead. These grotesque trophies, now inert, were essential to validate their conquest when they faced King Eurystheus. As they stood at the threshold of the now subdued swamp, Hercules and Iolaus exchanged a knowing glance, silently acknowledging the bond fortified through their shared ordeal. A final look back at the swamp sealed their farewell, their hearts touched by a mixture of accomplishment and humility. Setting off along the familiar path that wound its way through the dense forest, they embraced the comforting cadence of their footsteps on the leaf-strewn ground. Dappled sunlight played through the canopy above, casting fleeting patterns on the path that had led them to glory. As they walked, the echoes of their recent battle seemed to weave through the stories they began to share. Each tale was rich in detail, from the initial sighting of the Hydra to the strategic dance of sword and flame that culminated in their triumph. These narratives served as both a celebration of their success and a reinforcement of the lessons learned under pressure. As they cleared the forest's edge, the duo encountered villagers who lived in the shadow of the Lerna swamp. News of their valiant feat had traveled ahead, borne on the winds of witnesses who had sensed the sudden pacification of the once turbulent bog. The villagers emerged from their humble dwellings, their expressions a tapestry of awe and gratitude. Children watched wide-eyed, their imaginations ignited by the sight of the mighty heroes who had tamed the great beast. It was in this exchange of admiration that Hercules and Iolaus truly felt the weight of their accomplishment, not in how it embellished their legend, but how it brought solace and safety to those who lived under the Hydra's threat. As they continued their journey, the tranquility of the late afternoon enveloped them, encouraging a period of introspection. Hercules, though renowned for his physical prowess, found himself reflecting on the nuances of the battle, a labor that demanded not only strength, but strategic insight and reliance on trusted allies. Iolaus's quick thinking with the torch had been instrumental, a stark reminder that intelligence and cooperation could amplify even the greatest of heroics. These thoughts lingered as the landscape stretched before them, verdant and vibrant under the spring sun. The companions moved through the shifting shadows of the day, savoring the quiet camaraderie that had been forged in the crucible of combat. Their conversations ebbed and flowed with the rhythm of their steps, oscillating between light-hearted banter and profound revelations about the nature of courage and fear. It was in these shared moments that they acknowledged the deeper bonds of friendship, a gift that transcended the accolades awaiting them at the journey's end. Eventually, as the sun began its descent, casting a golden hue over the landscape, the familiar outlines of Tiryns came into view. The city rose from the horizon like a beacon, its walls holding the promise of respite and reward. With each step closer to home, a hopeful anticipation blossomed within their tired yet victorious hearts. Soon they would stand before King Eurystheus, their quest fulfilled and their honor intact. Their pace quickened subtly, driven by the knowledge that their tale of triumph awaited its rightful audience. The path unwound before them, threading a continuous narrative not only of accomplishment, but of growth and shared experiences. The road seemed to stretch out an unbroken invitation to future adventures, echoing the successes and struggles that continued to shape their lives. As Hercules and Iolaus finally entered the gates of Tiryns, the sense of homecoming was palpable, a life-affirming embrace after a trial that had tested their mettle and affirmed their bond. As the sun began its descent, painting the evening sky with shades of royal blue and darkening gold, Hercules and Iolaus approached the gates of Tiryns. The city stood under an expansive sky, its silhouette etched against the encroaching night, stars gradually emerging like whispered promises of tranquility. Each step towards their destination held the weight of their journey, a journey marked not only by the physical challenge of slaying the Lernaean Hydra, but also by the lessons etched in their hearts. The grand gates of the palace loomed ahead, a sight that stirred a mix of emotions within Hercules and Eurystheus. Their hearts wavered between anticipation and a touch of anxiety, knowing that the testimony of their success would soon unfold before King Eurystheus. Entering the palace grounds, they were escorted with respectful whispers from the guards and servants who were aware of the legendary feat accomplished by the two brave souls. As Hercules and Iolaus were ushered into the grand hall, the atmosphere shifted to one of reverence. The chamber, vast and echoing with history, now held the presence of Tyrion's king and his counselors. Eurystheus, seated upon his throne, regarded them with a gaze that flickered between disbelief and awe. Their arrival was a testament to their undoubtable courage and strategic prowess in overcoming what seemed an insurmountable challenge. The king, despite his demanding demeanor, could not hide the flicker of amazement in his eyes as Hercules recounted the arduous task. With measured words, Hercules narrated the grim ordeal, the fearsome emergence of the Hydra, the synchronized dance of danger and strategy, and the critical role Iolaus played in cauterizing the serpents' severed heads to prevent their regrowth. Each word was a brushstroke, painting a vivid picture for the court of the valor that defined their venture. In acknowledgement of their victory, and perhaps as a gesture of proof, Hercules and Iolaus presented the tangible evidence of the Hydra's defeat, a selection of severed heads once writhing with malign intent, now stilled. The display marked an undeniable testament to their success and silenced any lingering doubts that might have challenged their narrative. The court murmured with an undercurrent of respect, the evidence irrefutable. Reflections on the implications of this labor began to take shape within the hallowed walls. Eurystheus, though rarely forthcoming with praise, recognized the uniqueness of their achievement. It was more than a mere victory. It was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity required to succeed in such Herculean tasks. It hinted at the evolving nature of the 12 labors, each progressively challenging, pushing Hercules toward his destiny. Eurystheus, rising from his seat, addressed the assembly, his voice carrying an authoritative weight tempered with newfound respect. He acknowledged the difficulty of the completed labor, emphasizing the dual power of strength and strategy that Hercules embodied. The king's words echoed through the hall, a royal decree sealed with a nod of acknowledgement towards Hercules and Iolaus. Their valor had been officially recognized, their place in the annals of heroic legend cemented. With a sense of closure that resonated beyond the mere completion of a task, Hercules and Iolaus exited the palace, their spirits elevated by the recognition of their deeds. The evening air was cool and soothing, a fitting cloak for the victorious satisfaction that enveloped them. They walked back through the palace gates, their hearts lightened by the successful report of their conquest, each step a testament to the accomplishments that had brought them to this moment. The echoes of their labors resonated in the clarity of the starlit sky, hinting at the continuation of their journey. For Hercules, the closure of this labor was not an end, but rather a gateway to future challenges, a prelude to the unfolding saga of his legendary path. As the palace of Tyrants receded into the distance, the evening star emerged, casting its gentle light over the path of heroes on their unyielding voyage. Under the soft glow of the moonlight, Hercules found solace in the quietude of his chamber in Tyrants. The night's serenity offered a reflective haven as the recent triumph over the Lernaean Hydra reverberated in his mind. With each passing moment, he delved deeper into thoughts that interwove like the soft shadows cast by the silvered beams dancing through his window. It was an evening for introspection, a time to sift through the layers of victory and to uncover the growth that had blossomed amidst the struggle. Hercules understood that the battle was not merely a test of brawn, but also a testament to his evolving understanding of strength, a nuance he was only beginning to grasp. The night whispered stories of his journey as Hercules mulled over the days spent in the swamp, the strategies deftly enacted, and the courage needed to face the Hydra's serpentine menace. Though his muscles bore the weariness of battle, his spirit felt a newfound vitality that came not solely from overcoming a monstrous adversary, but from the inner fortitude born of the endeavor. He reflected on how the intertwining tendrils of fear and determination could be unwound to reveal the pure thread of resilience, a lesson carved into his being through the ordeal. In the reflective silence, a candid conversation with Iolaus emerged in his thoughts, a dialogue that stood as a cornerstone of their partnership. Together, they had faced the many heads of the Hydra, and it was through this shared experience that their fears had been met and subdued. Iolaus's unwavering loyalty was a beacon during the murky days in Lerna, a reassurance that strength was amplified when shared. Their discourse had revealed truths about courage not found in solitary ventures. Rather, bravery thrived in the union of minds working towards a common triumph. As the memories unfolded, Hercules recognized the pivotal role intelligence played in his victory. The physical might that once dominated his perception of heroism had found its counterpart in the clarity of mind needed to outthink rather than merely overpower. Eurystheus had tasked him with what seemed an insurmountable labor, yet it was the fusion of thought and action, as embodied by Hercules and Iolaus, that transformed challenge into accomplishment. This realization was a revelation to Hercules, who embraced it as a guiding principle for labors yet to come. The evening brimmed with contemplation on the future vanquishments, plans interlacing with the moonlight cast upon his chamber floor. Hercules pondered the challenges that lay on the horizon, each woven into the tapestry of his destiny. There were countless trials to face, and he knew that the wisdom gleaned from the Hydra would prove invaluable. As he envisioned the labor ahead, there was the embracing acceptance of the journey's relentless nature, a journey that demanded not mere survival but evolution. Gratitude welled within him as thoughts turned to Iolaus, the steadfast companion whose presence was a linchpin in the quest against the Hydra. The camaraderie they shared was not born of circumstance alone, but of a profound respect and understanding that drew two individuals together with a singular purpose. In quiet acknowledgement, Hercules recognized the indelible mark Iolaus's loyalty had left upon him. This connection, forged in the fiery crucible of battle, was a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. As Hercules sat in his chamber, a broader picture unfolded, a vision of the 12 labors stretching out like constellations across his path. Each labor was a testament to the unfolding of his destiny, and he ruminated on the grand design that tied lessons to legacy. In this quiet meditation, Hercules discerned the symbiotic relationship between his labors and the broader narrative of his life. He saw how each conquest was a step toward not just fulfilling a decree, but also towards realizing his potential as both a hero and a mortal deeply connected to myth and legacy. With these reflections gently cradling his thoughts, Hercules felt the comforting embrace of purpose. The moonlight, now a fading whisper in the encroaching night, gently coaxed him towards rest. Yet, even as he succumbed to the soft call of slumber, his dreams fluttered with the anticipations of future challenges. This serene night in Tiryns was neither the end nor the beginning, merely a waypoint on the never-ending quest of growth and discovery that bound him to his destiny. As the first rays of summer dawn washed over Tiryns, painting the horizon in hues of rosy pink, golden yellow, and soft lavender, Hercules stood silently, observing the serenity of the sunrise. This transition in time and season was emblematic of the turning point in his journey. Reflecting on his past achievements, his mind drifted to the diligent labor that had recently concluded, the formidable confrontation with the Lernaean Hydra. Yet, the completion of one trial only marked the prelude to another, as his quest for redemption was far from over. In the quiet halls of King Eurystheus's palace, a summons awaited Hercules. Once more, He stood before the demanding gaze of the king, his mind focused on the tasks yet revealed. Eurystheus, ever the orchestrator of Hercules' toils, offered only the faintest hint of what lay ahead, a challenge promising both peril and opportunity for further growth. The cryptic nature of his next labor urged Hercules to prepare thoroughly, igniting within him both a sense of duty and a rising anticipation for what was to come. Understanding the magnitude of his role and responsibilities, Hercules felt a renewed vigor coursing through his veins. His inner strength, bolstered by past experiences, honed his resolve. He recalled the wisdom gained from the Hydra and the strategic acumen needed to complement his legendary physical strength. The upcoming tasks were more than a series of trials. They were a testament to his journey of self-discovery and understanding. In quiet corners of the palace, Hercules found solace in the companionship of Iolaus, his steadfast ally. Together they pondered potential strategies, drawing from the wealth of knowledge acquired through their prior encounters. Iolaus's loyalty and insight were invaluable, for he not only provided support, but also lent a perspective molded by a shared history of confronting the unknown. Their exchange was calm and purposeful, weaving the threads of past lessons into a tapestry of plans for future preparation. Amidst these contemplations, the two strategists resolved to gather resources and insights that would bolster their chances of success. Their plans stretched beyond the mere physical. They would seek wisdom in the tales and experiences of others who had dared to face similar feats. Every word, every narrative held potential keys to unlocking the secrets of the trials they were destined to meet and conquer. As the anticipation settled into a gentle drive, Hercules began to prepare himself mentally for the challenges awaiting him. His days were no longer paced by the ticking of time, but by the rhythm of his own growth and evolution. An enduring calmness characterized his demeanor, a quiet readiness that spoke of a man who had come to embrace the ebb and flow of destiny with unwavering steadiness. Nonetheless, the path forward would not be treaded alone. Iolaus, with his unwavering support, stood by Hercules, a testament to the power of enduring friendship. His encouragement was the wind beneath Hercules' wings, lifting him through doubt and uncertainty and into the realm of assuredness. Their bond, forged in the fires of adversity, was a cornerstone of Hercules' preparation, one upon which so much more could be built. To equip himself for the trials ahead, Hercules revisited his training routine, refining and expanding it with newfound insights. His body, though already a temple of strength, was now, more than ever, intertwined with the mental fortitude and strategic prowess that his labors demanded. He set about with calm determination to optimize every facet of his being, ensuring that he was ready, not just in body, but in mind and spirit, to face whatever lay in wait. As light-hearted conversations occasionally interspersed their plans, a new beginning crept silently into their consciousness. The glow of sunrise over Tiryns mirrored the emergence of hope and the promise of fresh starts, encapsulating the very spirit of Hercules' journey, a persistent march toward the fulfillment of his destiny. Together, they stood ready, undaunted by the mysteries that lay beyond the horizon, buoyed by a resolve to face the future with courage and a steady heart. In the tranquility of the twilight over the gently rolling hills surrounding Tiryns, Hercules walked with a thoughtful air, his stride calm and purposeful. The sky was a deep twilight purple, gradually giving way to warm pinks and fading blues as the first stars began to twinkle against the backdrop of an eternal tapestry. Hercules' journey thus far had been one of not only physical challenges, but also deeper inner growth. As he reflected on the recent triumph over the Lernaean Hydra, he realized how much more than mere muscle he had discovered within himself. The journey through the watery depths of Lerna had tested not just his strength but also his strategy and will, unveiling layers of courage he had long harbored unwittingly. His endeavors seemed to form a cyclical dance, each labor a step leading to the next, an endless rhythm like the pulses of the natural world he stepped through. Hercules mused on the lessons each encounter had gifted him, and in the completion of each task left him with an enhanced sense of self. The 12 labors assigned to him by King Eurystheus were much more than trials. They were passages through which he was learning to become a hero worthy of myths. Each completed labor grounded him further in his purpose, shaping him into a beacon of strength and resolution. Appreciation swelled in Hercules' heart for the unwavering support that had been so freely given along his journey. The shadows lengthened as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a serene glow across the countryside. It was during these calm moments that Hercules absorbed the gravity of companionship and loyalty, both of which were ever present in his journey, embodied faithfully by all else. His allies' steadfast presence alongside him had been a powerful balm against weariness and doubt. The quiet symphony of nature around them spoke of the rhythms witnessed and cherished throughout their voyage. From the rushing streams in those distant woods where they had once paused to camp, to the cyclic whisper of the winds that carried tales across Greece, each played its part in the journey. The natural world had been both a setting and a mentor, guiding them through its own timeless wisdom and cycles. Settling onto a grassy knoll, Hercules shared a quiet moment with Iolaus. The bond that had been forged between them in the crucible of shared trials was now as strong and enduring as the very mountains that dotted the horizon. They exchanged weary yet triumphant smiles, both aware of the enormity of what they had accomplished together and of the challenges that loomed ahead. As the almost palpable weight of the completed labor gently released its hold, Hercules turned his thoughts toward the forthcoming tasks. Now, with the Hydra's legacy behind him, he stood on the precipice of new beginnings. The sense of closure on this chapter of his labors left him envisioning those tasks still to come and the changes they would inevitably bring. In the gathering dusk, he found peace in the open-ended promise of the future, a tapestry yet to be woven into the fabric of his legend. As stars twinkled above and night enveloped the countryside, Hercules and Iolaus basked in the serene ambiance of a well-earned respite. Just beyond the horizon beckoned the wide corridors of adventure yet untaken, but for this moment, they found comfort in the gentle passage of time. Their path lay open, an endless ribbon unspooling into the night, inviting them forward with a quiet assurance of continued growth and exploration. The task awaiting Hercules was unknown, yet his heart braced with quiet confidence, infused by the triumphs he now carried. Just as the twilight melted into the deep night sky, so too did this chapter yield to the promise of a future adventure, leaving its tranquil imprint on their shared narrative. Hercules stood with renewed determination, his journey a reflection of both the labors behind and those yet to sculpt his destiny.